Hey guys, first trading day of the week, and the Bitcoin chart looks the most interesting it has in the last few years, because we still have arguments for Bitcoin to collapse into the abyss, but at the same time we have arguments for a new large bullish move that might already be forming right now. Let's break everything down step by step. Bitcoin is trading around 92,000, and literally a couple of days ago it felt like the bottom might have been set, and now Bitcoin was heading into a bright future wrapped in green candles and the tears of short sellers. But right after that green candle we immediately got a series of red corrective ones, and right now there are arguments both for a continuation of the drop and for a new wave to the upside. I will start with the scenario where Bitcoin keeps falling and in the end dumps, it is not even clear how low, and then I will go through the scenario with continuation of the growth. On the 12-hour time frame, the first thing that jumps out is the global downtrend in Bitcoin that we have been observing from the end of September up to today. Highs are getting lower, lows keep getting taken out, and we still do not see any clear sign of strong buyers. We do not even see proper sideways price action in Bitcoin, which would mean distribution is happening. The asset is simply moving down inside a bearish structure. Right now, after sweeping the nearest high, which was previously marked with a red cross but is now replaced by a green check mark, price has come into a 4-hour imbalance zone and is showing a positive reaction. Two green 12-hour candles, and it would seem logical to expect continuation to the upside from here, because price has held and is trading above the moving average. On top of that, by sweeping the nearest high and not giving a clear bearish reaction, Bitcoin can once again confirm that this was just manipulation and that what we are seeing now is not the formation of another swing before further downside, but the early stage of a full bullish structure on the higher time frame. But I still put a question mark on the continuation of this structure, because I do not really understand where it can drop if this is a bull trap, a shallow local drop, just a trap, a move down into the imbalance area around 35 to 40,000. The imbalance at 80,000 has been filled above us. A huge amount of trend liquidity has accumulated, but even with that, the whole picture still looks extremely ambiguous. The fear and greed index is sitting at 19, which tells us that market participants are in a state that is borderline extreme fear, and all of this is happening despite the fact that Bitcoin still costs 92,000, which is quite a lot, but the market is in extreme fear. Another layer of weirdness is that when Bitcoin was at 89,000 a couple of days ago, the fear and greed index was at 22, and now it has dropped to 19. After relentless outflows from spot Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin finally got a small portion of inflows for a few days in a row. The nuance is that these inflows were many times smaller than the total outflows, and the outflow we saw on the 4th of December almost completely absorbed the sum of the previous inflows. A small portion of positivity was added by the inflow on the 5th of December, which might be the first sign that what we are seeing now is a trap for short sellers, and that the drop of Bitcoin into the imbalance zone on the 12-hour time frame is just a shakeout. This week will be important for Bitcoin because we need to see inflows in sufficient size. In the last 24 hours, as per classic tradition, more longs have been liquidated than shorts. Long liquidations totaled 284 million, while shorts got washed out for 189 million. The difference is 100 million. That is bullish, chat. That is bullish. On the liquidation levels map, the priority area is still the zone from 93 to 95,000. Around 83,000 there is noticeably less liquidity that the market maker could grab, but this market is used to surprising us, and at this point I would not be surprised by anything. Most likely a scenario with a sweep of liquidity around 95,000 and then another drop back to 85,000 is not something impossible. In the absence of proper liquidity, such local sideways movements are just the reality of this market. On the liquidation heat map, it is also clear even to the naked eye that the brightest, fattest band of liquidity is sitting around 93,000. Below that, levels are not as bright and not as obvious, yo. The main cluster of liquidity is still concentrated above 95,000. On the 4-hour time frame, I will go through the promised scenario with continuation of the growth in Bitcoin, because everything here looks like Bitcoin might be forming a new bullish structure on the higher time frames. And in general, everything is cool, my friends, positive vibes, we are all going to be rich. Salute, yo. If in the first part of the video I showed and broke down the global bearish structure, then in this part I want you to pay attention to the fact that right now Bitcoin might already be trying to break this downtrend and start forming a new bullish one. If we take this scenario as a base case, then the low was set around 78,000, and now Bitcoin is retesting the last imbalance, holding above the moving averages, and after that can just take off into space. In reality, this scenario is completely workable. Everything depends on whether you believe in it or not, and whether you are ready to take risk with a fixed stop loss. In any case, Bitcoin is giving opportunities for trading, but only on the condition that you know your acceptable level of risk, and profit is just the reward for correctly executed actions. Subscribe to the channel, support the video with a like. See you.